$77,000. That's the entire cost of a gorgeous beachfront paradise home in Australia. Not a down payment. Not a tent. A real, architectural masterpiece on white sand. And you're not supposed to know about it. The real estate cartel is panicking because 10 hidden towns are entirely collapsing the market. While everyone else is trapped paying $4,000 a month in the city, people are quietly moving to a subterranean sci-fi oasis where electricity bills don't exist, and an Italian-infused tropical valley with properties cheaper than a used car. But here's the problem. Most people will completely miss this window before it slams shut forever. Choosing wrong could cost you 10 years of savings, but finding these secrets changes everything. Hit subscribe because choosing wrong costs thousands, and let's break it down. Number 1. Coober Pedy, South Australia. In Coober Pedy, you can buy a fully functional home for just $77,000 and still have enough left over for a lifetime supply of industrial-grade dust masks. Located 840 kilometers north of Adelaide in the dead center of the brutal South Australian outback, this town of 1,500 people feels like a post-apocalyptic film set. It's famous for supplying most of the world's opals, but its real quirk is that 60% of the locals live entirely underground in carved-out sandstone caves called dugouts. Let's break it down. A median home price of $77,000 is less than a fancy pickup truck, and average rent is a laughable $180 a week. Your dollar goes incredibly far here, and crime is mostly just petty disputes over property lines. Sounds like an off-grid dream, right? But here's what nobody tells you. Summer temperatures routinely smash 115 degrees Fahrenheit, making above-ground life unlivable. The job market is completely non-existent unless you're a miner, and the town looks like the surface of Mars. As one Redditor put it, living here means you'll spend your weekends vacuuming your walls and praying your neighbor doesn't accidentally drill into your bedroom. So yeah, you save money, but you trade it for a windowless cave. Okay, can we talk about the weather? It's so hot that even the local golf course is completely dirt, and people only play at night with glowing balls just to avoid melting. Imagine this. It's midnight. The desert air finally drops to a crisp 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and you smell nothing but dry dust and stale beer. You look out over a jagged landscape of red dirt valleys, completely silent, until a wild emu sprints past your underground chimney. Number 2, Queenstown, Tasmania. Queenstown is the kind of town where epic alpine peaks and a completely barren moonscape exist in the exact same zip code. Tucked away in a dramatic valley on Tasmania's wild west coast, this historic mining enclave of 1,800 people is undergoing a bizarre cultural renaissance. It's known for a landscape so stripped by 19th-century smelting fumes that it looks like a sci-fi set, but the influx of mainland artists is shifting the vibe from gritty industrialism to moody, mountain chic. Here's what you're working with. The median home price sits at an unbelievable $195,000, meaning your mortgage is cheaper than a bad studio apartment lease in Sydney. Rent hovers around $260 a week, and your dollar stretches beautifully. Violent crime isn't a thing here. The biggest local drama is a slow driver on the mountain pass. But then, there's the catch. It rains roughly 240 days a year. The job market is barren unless you work in ecotourism, mining, or arts. And the nearest major hospital is a terrifying 99-bend drive away. As one local posted, the mountains are stunning, but pack 3 raincoats. It's perfect for introverts, but if you need constant sunlight to function, you'll be packing your bags by July. Let's talk about the weather for a sec. It doesn't just rain, it rains with a personal vendetta. The moisture is so aggressive that keeping a towel dry in winter requires a strategic military campaign involving 3 different heaters. Picture this. It's a misty Tuesday morning, the air is a crisp 42 degrees Fahrenheit, and the smell of wood smoke and damp moss fills the valley. You look up at the towering, jagged peaks dripping with fog, hearing nothing but the low rumble of the Heritage steam train echoing through the canyon. It's hauntingly beautiful, until you realize your shoes haven't been truly dry since October. Hey, at least in Queenstown you get actual water falling from the sky. Looking at you, Coober Pedy. Number 3, Peterborough, South Australia. In Peterborough, you can buy a charming heritage stone cottage for $165,000 and still have enough left over for a restored vintage record player to match the vibe. Located 250 kilometers north of Adelaide, this historic railway hub of 1,400 people feels like a perfectly preserved 1950s movie set. It's famous for holding more operational steam trains than anywhere else in the Southern Hemisphere, giving the town a quiet, nostalgic atmosphere that's drawing in a steady wave of burnt-out remote workers. Here's the thing. A median home price of $165,000 means your entire house costs less than a luxury cruise ticket, and rent sits at a tiny $220 a week. The cost of living is 35% below the national average, and your wallet can finally breathe. Crime is practically non-existent. The local community watch is so active they'll know you bought a new toaster before you even unbox it. But here's what nobody tells you. The job market is completely dead unless you work in agriculture or aged care, and specialized medical facilities require a brutal 2.5-hour drive to Adelaide. The nightlife consists of 2 historic pubs closing up early. As one Redditor put it, "Moving here absolutely saved my bank account, but your social life will completely revolve around the local bakery and lawn bowls." And don't even get me started on the store hours. If you need anything after 5 p.m. on a Saturday, you're basically fresh out of luck. The entire town shuts down so fast you'd swear they were preparing for an alien invasion, leaving you alone with your thoughts and a sudden craving for late-night snacks. Picture this. It's a warm Saturday evening, the sky is a deep shade of purple, and the air smells like dry wheat and old iron. You're sitting on your veranda watching the sunset glow against a stationary steam engine, experiencing a level of silence so profound your ears actually ring. It's total peace, until you realize you forgot to buy milk and the nearest open store is an hour away. Remember Queenstown's endless, depressing rain? Peterborough said, "Hold my beer," and traded it for perpetual sunshine and absolute stillness. Subscribe before your least favorite coworker finds these affordable towns first, buys a mansion, and spends the next 5 years bragging about it. Don't let them win this race. Number 4, Geraldton, Western Australia. You can buy a stunning coastal property with ocean views in Geraldton for $420,000. Yes? Really? No? It's not a scam. Located 420 kilometers north of Perth on Batavia Coast, this booming regional city of 37,000 people is a hidden giant. It's famous for being the windsurfing capital of Australia, offering pristine turquoise waters, white sand beaches, and the kind of Mediterranean lifestyle that usually requires a $1 million bank account. Here's what you're working with. A median price of $420,000 means an oceanside lot costs less than a regular suburban driveway in Sydney. Average rent is $380 a week, and the cost of living is 15% below the national average. Unlike the tiny outback towns, the job market here is actually thriving thanks to mining, port shipping, and agriculture. But then, there's the twist. The wind. From October to March, the afternoon sea breeze hits the coast so violently it can literally knock over your patio furniture and sandblast your car's paint job. It's also wildly isolated. If you want to visit a major capital city, you're looking at a mind-numbing 4.5-hour drive down a single highway. As one local posted, "The beaches are world-class, but you have to accept that your hair will be permanently wind-blown and you'll be picking sand out of your ears for 6 months of the year." Okay, can we talk about the drive? The Brand Highway is basically a straight line of asphalt cutting through infinite brush. If you forget to download a podcast, you will find yourself arguing with the radio static just to feel alive. Picture this. It's a warm February afternoon, the sun is blindingly bright, and the ocean smells like fresh salt and seaweed. You watch kitesurfers flying over turquoise waves during an explosive orange sunset, feeling like you've successfully cheated the system. Then a gale-force gust of wind blows your fish and chips straight into your face. Hey, at least in Geraldton you can actually see the ocean. Looking at you, landlocked Peterborough. Number 5, Charleville, Queensland. Charleville is the kind of town where billion-star night skies and a mortgage lower than your phone bill exist on the same red dirt block. Located 750 kilometers west of Brisbane in the deep heart of the Mulga country, this outback hub of 3,300 people is the definition of true frontier living. It's famous for the Cosmos Centre, where zero light pollution gives you the clearest view of the Milky Way on Earth, and a community spirit so thick that local store owners will learn your name before your credit card even clears. Here's the thing. The median home price is an absurd $165,000. Translation: your entire house costs less than a basic down payment on a garage in Melbourne. Rent sits at $250 a week, and your dollar stretches further than the horizon. Property crime is incredibly rare. It's the kind of safe, old-school town where people still leave their front doors unlocked. But here's what nobody tells you. The outback flies in the spring will test your absolute sanity. Groceries are painfully expensive because every single lettuce leaf has to be trucked thousands of kilometers into the interior, and when the Warrego River floods, the town can temporarily turn into an island. As one Redditor put it, the stars at night will make you cry, and your bank account will thrive. Just buy a fly net for your face before October hits, or you'll swallow 3 of them before breakfast. And don't even get me started on the bugs. The flies here don't just buzz. They have a coordinate system. They will try to climb directly into your eyes, your nose, and your mouth with the persistence of a door-to-door salesman. We are halfway through our list, and I have to know, would you rather live like a subterranean nomad in a cool underground cave in Cuba Pedy, or spend your nights staring at the Milky Way in the deep outback of Charleville? Drop a comment below right now with your choice. I read every single one to see who has the guts to actually leave the city. Number 6, Tara, Queensland. If you want to go completely off the grid and buy acres of land for less than the price of a used jet ski, Tara is your bush paradise. Located 300 kilometers west of Brisbane on the Darling Downs, this rugged country hub of 2,200 people is the ultimate frontier for self-sufficiency. It's famous for holding a massive camel racing festival that draws thousands to an otherwise silent landscape, but mostly it's known for offering massive bush blocks where you can live entirely on your own terms. Here's what you're working with. The median home price sits at $200,000, but that's not just for a house, that often includes multiple acres of native Australian bushland. Rent is around $240 a week, and the cost of living is 33% below the national average. It's the kind of place where your dollar doesn't just stretch, it buys you an entire kingdom of privacy. But then, there's the twist. Many of these properties are raw bush blocks, meaning zero town water and no grid electricity. You are entirely responsible for harvesting your own rainwater, running solar panels, and clearing fire breaks because the summer bushfire risk here is incredibly real. As one local posted, it's ultimate freedom and my mortgage is practically zero. But if you aren't handy with a chainsaw, a solar inverter, and a water pump, the bush will swallow you whole by winter. And don't even get me started on the internet. Unless you invest in a serious satellite dish, your connection speed will be so slow you'll have time to breed a family of possums before a single YouTube video buffers. Number 7, Kambalda, Western Australia. Kambalda is the kind of town where modern brick family homes and an apocalyptic white salt flat exist in the exact same neighborhood. Plonked right in the middle of a red dirt eucalyptus forest 600 kilometers east of Perth, this purpose-built mining hub of 2,500 people is a surreal slice of suburbia. It's famous for sitting on the edge of Lake Lefroy, a giant, blindingly white dry salt lake. And its population rises and falls based on the global price of nickel and gold, creating a fast-paced, high-earning frontier vibe. Here's the thing. The median home price here is a shocking $180,000. That's less than the price of a mid-tier luxury watch, while average rent is $300 a week. Because it's a mining town, the local incomes are incredibly high, meaning your earning-to-housing cost ratio is absolutely broken in your favor. Crime is low because almost everyone is on a strict shift work schedule and too tired to cause trouble. But here's what nobody tells you. The town is physically split into 2 hubs separated by 4 miles of pitch-black native bushland, and if you aren't in the mining industry, the community can feel incredibly cliquey. Shopping options are so bare-bones you have to drive 45 minutes to Kalgoorlie just to buy a pair of socks. As one Redditor put it, the houses are surprisingly modern and cheap, but everything closes early and the entire town smells faintly of industrial processing plants. Okay, can we talk about the stores? There is one tiny grocery store for the entire population. If they run out of fresh milk on a Thursday, your morning coffee routine is officially ruined unless you fancy a long highway road trip. Number 8, Devonport, Tasmania. You can buy a gorgeous coastal river property in Devonport for $470,000, meaning your daily view of ocean-bound ships costs less than a damp basement flat in London. Situated on Tasmania's dramatic northern coastline where the Mersey River meets the sea, this maritime city of 25,000 people is the official gateway to the island state. It's famous for being the home port of the massive Spirit of Tasmania passenger ferries, blending a relaxed coastal lifestyle with full city infrastructure and a distinctly European climate. Here's what you're working with. A median price of $470,000 means you can afford a real backyard, while rent averages a stable $390 a week. The cost of living is 12% below the national average, and violent crime is so rare that locals still walk the river trails alone at midnight. Because it's a fully established city, you get major supermarkets, trendy cafes, and hospitals right at your doorstep. But then, there's the catch. Winter temperatures routinely hover in the 40s degree F, and the wind coming off Bass Strait will cut right through your heaviest winter coat. The local economy relies heavily on manufacturing and tourism, so corporate, high-flying office jobs are almost mythical. As one local posted, waking up to see the ships roll into the river is magical. Life moves slow here, which is perfect for my retirement, but my grandkids find it so boring they count the days until they can flee to Melbourne. Let's talk about the local drivers for a sec. I swear, the speed limit here is treated as a wild, reckless suggestion. Everyone drives a solid 15 kilometers below the limit, turning a simple trip to the bakery into an agonizing, slow-motion parade where you have time to contemplate your entire life. Number 9. Ingham, Queensland. In Ingham, you can buy a gorgeous tropical estate for just $230,000 and still have enough left over to hire a personal butler to fan you with palm fronds. Located 110 kilometers north of Townsville in the lush, wet tropics of North Queensland, this vibrant community of 4,300 people is known as Australia's Little Italy. It's famous for a massive influx of Italian immigrants in the 1900s, which left behind a rich legacy of authentic delicatessens, cane farming dynasties, and a food culture that puts big city cafes to absolute shame. Here's the thing. A median home price of $230,000 means an entire tropical house costs less than a mid-tier luxury SUV, and rent sits at a tiny $290 a week. The cost of living is 25% below the national average, and your wallet can finally recover from city life. It's a deeply multi-generational, safe community where neighbors actually look out for one another. But here's what nobody tells you. It is located in the wet tropics. Translation: when monsoon season hits, it pours so violently the local Herbert River floods and temporarily cuts the town off from civilization. The summer humidity in January will make you feel like you're living inside a hot, damp towel, and the cane toads in your backyard are the size of dinner plates. As one Redditor put it, the espresso and cannoli here are better than what you'll find in Melbourne, but the summer heat will make you want to sweat through your clothes just walking to your mailbox. And don't even get me started on the coffee. Once you experience a real, authentic $3 Italian espresso from a local Ingham bakery, your standards will be permanently ruined. You will physically recoil at the thought of drinking a generic, over-roasted Starbucks brew ever again. Number 10. Inverrule, New South Wales. Inverrule is the kind of town where you can literally find precious gemstones in the local rivers and buy a stunning, historic brick home for just $340,000. Nestled in a picturesque valley on the McIntyre River, this thriving regional hub of 12,000 people is proudly known as the Sapphire City. It's famous for producing a massive percentage of the world's sapphires, creating an old-world, prosperous vibe with grand 19th-century architecture and a steady influx of young families fleeing the Sydney housing nightmare. Let's break it down. A median price of $340,000 means your mortgage is less than what city people spend on parking and coffee, and average rent is an easy $340 a week. The cost of living is 22% below the national average. Because it's a fully functional service town, the job market is actually stable across healthcare, education, and agriculture, meaning you don't have to rely entirely on a laptop to survive. But here's what nobody tells you. The temperature swings here are absolutely bipolar. You will freeze through frosty winter nights only to get roasted by scorching summer days. It's also deeply landlocked. If you get a sudden craving to smell the ocean, you are looking at a grueling, 4-hour drive over steep mountain ranges to hit the coast. Plus, public transport is a myth. If your car breaks down, you are officially stranded. As one local posted, the town is beautiful, safe, and the schools are great. Just make sure your car has a heavy-duty heater for July and flawless air conditioning for January. And don't even get me started on the country backroads. If you venture even slightly outside the town center, the potholes are so massive and the asphalt is so chewed up it feels like you're driving a lunar rover over the moon. Your suspension will be crying for mercy within a week. Picture this. It's a crisp autumn evening. The sun is setting in a brilliant amber hue over the historic brick shop fronts, and the air smells like wood smoke and clean river water. You're walking along the pristine river track, watching the water ripple under the bridge, feeling a deep sense of security and financial relief. It's a picture-perfect country dream, until you remember you have to drive 4 hours through a mountain pass just to see a beach. Hey, at least in Inverrule you can go find a literal sapphire in the dirt to pay for your groceries. Looking at you, Ingham. The truth is, the dream of owning your own home and living a peaceful life isn't dead. It just migrated to the hidden corners of the Australian continent. If this video gave you a glimmer of hope for your bank account, smash that like button so the algorithm can share it with other burnt-out souls. Hit subscribe to join our community of city escapees. We drop new deep dives into affordable living every single week. And if you think Australia is cheap, wait till you see the hidden European mountain villages paying foreigners $30,000 just to move in. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now to see them.